Rose from Yours Truly by Rose. We are going to be jumping right into what you're supposed to do with your scrap yarn. Now, we just finished a year, we're in a new year, and you probably have a lot of leftover yarn from projects that you've been making over the past year. What do you do with it? There are a lot of videos out there to do a lot of different things with your scrap yarn, but I'm going to be focusing on one particular project, but giving you some ideas as well for others. First, it's a scrap bag. This particular bag is double-stranded and it is a half double crochet all the way up, and I kind of blended in the colors as I went. This is all done with acrylic yarn, which is easy to wash and it won't shrink. I also have a huge bag of scrap yarn as well. Some of this includes scrap pieces. So I will use up this yarn, unwind it, or frog it as we call it in the crochet and knitting world, and make a ball of yarn, call it. That brings me to my next object to use for scrap yarn, a scrap cake or a scrap ball. It's good to have a ball winder when you're using this or using their scraps for this. This one particularly has a lot of different scraps in it. So it's got cotton, it's got acrylic, it's got blends, and it's got alpaca in here as well. So this will be ideal to use for projects that I have that I don't care if they, are a little bit messy. Another thing to use for scrap yarn is Scrappy Slouchies. These are over on my website. You can check these out, these two particular ones. They both have a lot of blends in them and they're really warm and squishy and they're pretty fun because you never know what kind of colors you're gonna get when you purchase one of these. So you can wear it like this, a nice slouchy hat, or you can turn up the cuff. I don't have a pom-pom on these. I don't feel like it's necessary because there's already a lot going on with the Scrappies. Finally, it is what we've been waiting for, the tutorial on how to make a scrappy wrap. This wrap that I am making currently for one of my daughters is for the car. So it literally is a whole bunch of different kinds of yarn, mostly acrylic again, but it has a whole bunch of colors and textures, and it's okay for this particular project to have these little pieces all over the place because it's only going on my daughter's lap. So I'm going to show you how to make this corner to corner crochet blanket or scrappy wrap using some scraps that I already have caked up. I'm going to start my second blanket, but I'm going to do just a swatch of it so you can kind of get the gist of how to increase and how to decrease for this corner to corner scrappy wrap. All right, I have grabbed my scrappy yarn and my favorite 5mm or 5.5mm crochet hook. And we are going to pop a slip knot right onto your hook. And we're going to start the corner to corner blanket with 6 chains. And then in the 4th chain from the hook, you're going to pop a double crochet. And then do 2 more crochets in the remaining 2 stitches. And just like that, your wrap is done. Just kidding. Next, you're going to chain 6 again. You're going to go down again to the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And do 2 more double crochets with a total of 3 that you actually work into. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to flip and make sure that this piece is turned this direction, so your tail is actually facing to the right. And you're going to slip stitch into this first grouping of the chains. Now what this does, as you have made this over here, when you slip stitch it automatically will pull to the left. So this is the right side of your blanket. Then you're going to chain 3 and double crochet 3 additional times in this little section. So you will then end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets or 3 double crochets and a chain 3. Now that you are on the side of your work, you're going to again chain 6. And repeat double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook all the way down, giving you 3 double crochets and 1 chain 3. You will then turn your work, and this is honestly my favorite part. As your blanket gets bigger, you will be able to just seriously sit here and do this very, very fast, because you're going to be putting another slip stitch right into this opening. And then you're going to chain 3 again and work 3 double crochets in the same space. Slip stitch again right here. Sorry, this little extra piece is kind of being annoying. The joys of scrap yarn. And chain 3 again. Remember, you are making a corner to corner crochet wrap. So you want to make sure that each row or each corner always ends with 1 more. So we just finished row 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to chain 6 again because we're at an end. Turn our work, which it doesn't really matter. I find when you are working on a corner to corner, it doesn't really matter when you turn your work, as long as before you slip stitch into your joining square, you turn your work then. So turn your work, there's your little opening, and you're going to slip stitch right back down there, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. You can see how fast this is working up, and we've just finished our 4th row. I'm going to stop here and continue working a 10 by 10 square, hopefully getting some color changes in there. And once I get the height that I want it, so 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm almost halfway there. Once I get to 10, or once I get up to 10, I will then pop back on and show you how to decrease to make it an actual perfect square or rectangle, depending on how you want to make your blanket. So I'm finishing up my 9th row for this side. So there's 9 here, and then there's 10 this direction. So what you want to do when you get to the top of where you want to start to decrease, you're going to slip stitch like normal, but instead of chaining 3, when you get up here, you're going to turn your work and you're going to slip stitch 3 times back across the 3 double crochets, the top of the 3 double crochets that you just completed. What this does is it gets your work right back over to where you want it to be. And you're going to slip stitch right into that space and chain 3 and continue with the pattern as normal with the 3 double crochets in the same space. To the last square that I will be using or working on. I'm slip stitching all the way back, not forgetting to slip stitch into that loop, chaining 3, and again repeating the process, 3 double crochets into this space, and then you slip stitch into this space here, fasten off. I won't, obviously, because I'm going to make this bigger, and there you go. There is your 10 by 9 square of your corner to corner Scrappy wrap. I've started down here where you can see the tail, and it continues all the way going into a nice diagonal pattern all the way up however big you want. I really like using different textures of yarn. Like I said, this is all acrylic, and then you get kind of this alpaca blend, and then you have even like variegated yarn that is really fun to use in these projects, because again, you don't know what you're getting. You have little tiny pieces of yarn that only do maybe like 1 or 2 stitches, but it still adds a lot of personality. And of course, the back side is completely different as well, because you've got all the yarn ends and whatnot. But the best part is you don't have to weave in the ends if you don't want to. When I join the 2 different colors of yarn together, I usually just do a normal tie using longer tails to make it easier. I use this in all my projects when I'm joining colors together, just because it gives it a little bit of depth, personality, but then also if I want to work in over these ends, I can do that as well. I choose not to on this just because these are for my girls and they're fun, and why not? So as you can see, I still have a lot of yarn left to do. So I'm going to continue working on this one. I'm going to frog it back out to make it bigger because this is going to be for my other daughter, and I will show you what it looks like completely finished, or I hope to. Thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day, and happy crafting. Bye.